Good morning, everyone. Welcome to session on building employee assistant with Vertex AI. I know it's shortly before the lunch, so hopefully we'll make it exciting for you. My name is Eva Duerr, and I lead product team for cloud artificial intelligence at Google in California. And I will be joined later on by the honorable set of customers that have built employee assistants together with us and Lovro, other Googler from our team that will show you how to build employee assistant with Vertex. So I will kick us off briefly on talking about the opportunity. Then we'll show you a demo on how to build employee assistant with Agent Builder that you might heard about in the TK keynote yesterday. And then we'll have the panel. As I always say, the best opportunity for you to learn is to learn from our customers that went through similar set of challenges. So yesterday I think Thomas Curran kicked us off with this excitement around building employee assistant agents across multiple industries and functions. Whether we talked about customer service and assisting agents in serving the customers more productively and faster, whether this is marketing agents designing campaigns and personalized to individual users, or even coding agents debugging, writing code. Every function, every industry is practically affected and has that opportunity. But at the same time, I think there are a couple of challenges, and we want to help you in doing that. So maybe a raise of hands, how many of you have already experimented with building employee assistants for your function or your industry? Just raise of hands. OK, about 50% of the audience. How many of you actually have that now up and running in production? I think I could count 1, 2, 3, 4 hands, 4 or 5 hands. So this is exactly half of the audience raised their hands. We have experimented, we've run through this, and only a few hands had it in production. And I always like to compare building something in AI to climbing a mountain. The first 80% is kind of easy. You go through the valleys, it's shadow because you are in the forest, and it's all nice and easy. But once you get to the 80%, that's where it starts getting rockier, where it's steeper, where the sun is coming because there is no forest any longer, right? And you start sweating because bringing that 20% on top of the 80 is exactly what makes or breaks it, whether you make it to the mountain or you put something in production. And this is the same with the AI systems. And so our goal of our organization, and we want to show you how we do that within Vertex, is to help you build those employee assistants in production, to be helpful, relevant for your employees, and trusted and secure. And we'll talk about some of the enterprise readiness aspects of that. So a couple of challenges that we have seen as we have been working with clients over the past months on bringing exactly those employee assistants into production and bringing those agents into production. The first and foremost, the common theme is always compliance and responsible AI. Whether we talk about privacy security or data governance, that's the common theme. Every industry, every even country has different regulation, different requirements. So it's critical that we address those upfront. The second aspect, how do I make it actually relevant to the user? Each of you has different systems, and LLMs know only practically the foundational knowledge generally available, but they don't know your data. So how do you augment everything you do with your private data to make it more relevant? And last but not least, I think the common theme that is coming all over the place is grounding. How factual is whatever the output of the model is? How fresh is that? We'll talk about grounding in a second in more details to show you what options we have been investing in to make it happen for you. So as I mentioned before, there are such a multitude of agents that you could build, but today we want to focus on the ones that we have implemented with our clients that will be later on with me in the panel and will share their experience. One of them is knowledge worker. Knowledge worker, a very general term, because practically everything that requires some access to the most relevant factual data is knowledge worker. Market research, these are the areas, or investment analysts, these are the ones that are mostly focused on that, and that's where the grounding capabilities play a role. So we have invested, and we'll show you how we can do that for that use case. The second one we will talk about and focus on today a little bit more into details is agent assist. I think many of you, if not all in this audience, probably have had some experience with call center and customer operations and chatbots in customer service. So agents that assist you in those call centers really have to deal with complexity of knowledge and to make sure that they provide you the most factual, the accurate answer faster. I think that's what we care about here the most. And last but not least, marketing agents. That's the one, the creative one, so to speak, because beyond just analyzing market research and outputting that the results of that in summaries, it also helps the agent to create new knowledge, new campaigns that are more personalized to eventual users. So before I hand over to Lovro, who will walk you through, we really want to work with you to enable all of those agents, the complexity and the variety of agents with our agent builder platform, and Lovro on stage will walk you through how to do that.
Thank you so much, Eva. Hi, everyone. My name is Lovro Soldo. I'm a product manager with Cloud AI, and today I'll be talking to you about our Agent Builder product offering. So Agent Builder is a product offering suite that helps you build the various agents that Eva has explained just before. You probably heard it at TK's keynote. You also probably heard it through a lot of different sources and talks, and here we'll go into more detail about the knowledge agent aspect of it. First of all, we acknowledge that developing a product varies a lot by different customers. Some of you, you want to have it very easy, just like no code, low code. I would like to give natural language description. So we have a product offering for that, and I'll talk about this in a second. And maybe some of you really want to go deep. You have an engineering team of 10, 20 people. You have data scientists, and you want to fine-tune every single thing. So for you, we also have a full code experience. In addition to giving you an experience how you can build agents, we also give you various tools. So Eva talked a lot about all the grounding and augmentation. We will go in more detail into that. But you also want your agent not just to give you information. You want your agent also to be able to act. Right? So for example, you could have a data analysis agent that then produces reports for you. Or you could have a marketing agent that produces personalized emails for your end customers. And we have a lot of other different primitives, foundational capabilities that they can use to build agents. In addition, we hear a lot from many of you that you have to mix and match, right? So some of you have prototyped on LangChain. Maybe you have used some Google tools, maybe not. We offer an orchestration capability where you can use our code as well as LangChain code together and deploy it safely in your cloud. So let me go through all of these step by step. First of all, let's look at the low-code agent builder environment. I want to highlight 5 things. First, it's an out-of-the-box experience. Within a few clicks, less than a minute, I'll show you how we'll set up an agent for you. But we also know that's not enough. So secondly, we really want you to be able to personalize your agent. So with natural language instructions, you can personalize your agent. Third, we want you to be able to ground it. Your agent should be factual. It should be like rooted in your data. It should communicate to your data. So we have various tools that will help you with that. In addition, as Eva pointed out, it's easy to do a prototype. It's hard to bring it to production. So we offer you in console a simulator, and we offer you a lot of like test and evaluation capabilities to help you increase the quality. And once you increase the quality, we also offer you a way to simply deploy it. With a few clicks, you can have it integrated in Slack, Google Chat, or any other messaging tool of your liking. Last but not least, GenAI is a journey. You start with a prototype, you bring V0 to production, and you want to continuously improve. We have you covered. So this is the low-code, no-code environment, and we highly recommend you, start there, see how you go. And if you hit like walls or you want to go more into details, you can also go full code. So we support LangChain on Vertex AI in preview as of this week. So you can define your own function using Vertex AI capabilities, using your own code, or even using LangChain templates. And with our deployment service, you'll be able to securely deploy this on Vertex. Now let me talk a bit about the tooling that we offer you for these 2 developer experiences. Grounding is the most important thing that we hear from all of you, and you would like to have really solid grounding. And grounding can take like multiple months to develop. So what we created is out-of-the-box grounding for you. So the out-of-the-box experience really gives you a big coverage of the whole RAG pipeline. So you collect your data, but then from processing, indexing, ranking, generating, validation, Vertex AI Search out of the box has you covered. And then you can serve it in your application or whatever use case you need. Now, if that is not sufficient, you can also use our do-it-yourself RAG system. So this is very new. Most of this is still in preview. But for each step of RAG, we have an API for you that you can use, customize, adjust for your specific needs. So for example, processing and annotation. How many of you have a lot of your data stored in PDFs or pictures? Can I see a raised hand? Roughly 40%? So we hear that a lot from our customers. They have their data stored in PDFs, and they want to like interact with it with an LLM, but then the tables are not correct. You split it. The LLM doesn't really understand how it is. So we have a document processing API for you. We also have vector search, so you can benefit from Google's powerful search capabilities. We have ranking and re-ranking. If you have multiple sources, you can use the different sources, and we'll make sure that the most relevant snippets are served. And we have grounding generation as well as grounding check, because quality and making sure that our systems are trustworthy is a very, very high priority for us. Now, what do you connect? What do you ground? We hear that this is super important for you, so we're building a wide variety of connectors. You can connect cloud storage to this. We have a lot of first-party and third-party connectors. BigQuery, I'm super passionate about BigQuery because we see the power of LLM really come to life when you can talk to your data. You can really ask a question, and the LLM goes, it does the SQL, it retrieves the information, it even does your visual. I'll show you that in the demo in a second. Here we're working very closely with Google AI Research and DeepMind to bring you the latest and greatest of our technology for your use cases. Many of you also want to build chatbots, for example, for public websites. We also have a product offering for that. And we have a lot of other native integrations like Confluence, Jira, Elastic, Hadoop, and so on. So without further ado, let's take a look at the demo. Can we switch to the demo screen? Perfect. What you see here is the agent console. This is your no-code, low-code environment to build agents. And so let's now together build an agent. So let me start here. I go create agent, and so I give it a name. Let's call it next demo agent. And I give it some instructions. Be a helpful assistant and answer any general knowledge questions. Great. And now I will give it some other instructions. If you're not sure, do not answer the question and indicate that you do not know the answer. Oops, sorry for that. Glitch. OK, so now this is all I had to do. So I just typed this in. I used voice recognition of the MacBook to type it in. And I saved this agent. And you see here on the right-hand side, I can immediately test it. So this is the next demo agent that I just created over here. And so let me ask him, hey, in which state is Las Vegas? OK? I mean, this should be a relatively simple question that the agent should be able to know, because it's a general knowledge agent. Great. OK. It knows it, and it even asked, do I need anything else? So let's see if it knows something about our Google internal documents. So how many Chromebooks did Google sell last month? So this is something I hope it's not going to answer. And it actually didn't, right? Because it's not connected to any of our internal data. So this is very simple. In a few clicks, you can set up an agent. And what is happening behind the scenes is you're chatting to Gemini 1.0 here in this case. But you can even select which Gemini version you want to use. So far, so good. Very easy, but not so useful right now, right? I want to show you a bit more sophisticated agent. So I prepared something because we don't have too much time. But what you see here is an invoice agent. How many of you like to pay invoices? No hand? OK, wow. So we built an invoice agent. You might want to have this one right after the demo. But what this agent does is I explained it in a few simple steps, like what the goal is. It's to find invoices, summarize them, and then actually pay them. And then I give a bit of instructions. But you see, it's mostly natural language. And then we connected tools. The pink thing here, these are the tools. And you see here below, there are a couple of pre-made tools that you can use. So Vertex AI Search is the out-of-the-box search experience that I described. We also connected it to Vertex AI Gemini Pro because we need multi-model capabilities that I'll show you in the demo. And we have connected our SAP payment tool. Now let's test this agent. So I restart here. Instead of the next demo agent, I use the invoice agent. See, I have a different options of Gemini, but 1.0 is already strong enough. If you want more complex, we even have you covered with better multimodal LLMs. So let me say, hey, do I have any open invoice? And so what is happening behind the scenes is we have created an invoice store, and the agent is now going in this invoice store and fetching this invoice. So you see here, oh, I found the invoice. Do you have any questions? It's a bit hard to read, right? So maybe let me just say, can you please summarize this for me? And so now invoices typically come as PDFs, right? It's not structured data. So what we're doing behind the scenes, we're taking this image. In this case, it's an image, but it can be a PDF. We're sending it to Gemini 1.5 Pro that is multimodal. And it's analyzing the data, and I gave it in the instructions, I gave it information, what type of things it should return. And what you see here, it now summarized this invoice. It's a McLaren that was needed for the downstairs in the expo area, in case you haven't seen it. We didn't really order it, but it's a demo. And then it has the invoice data, it has some financials, and some contacts. OK, so far, so good. But with this high amount, I sometimes feel uncomfortable if I should really pay it right away. So let's maybe do this. Can you please cross-check this with the contract? And I think this is a pretty amazing case, right? How many of us need to do a lot of work that covers more than one document. You need to compare different documents. You need to see, hey, is this really what I did? Maybe you need something from emails. You need a doc. You need a presentation. But how can you bring all of this together? And so I should enable auto-scroll. So here you see, OK, invoice contract match. OK, great. It looks like everything was working precisely as it should. So now I feel more comfortable to pay this invoice. Now, OK, it's great. I have this agent here in my environment to test and play around with it. But how can an end user use it, right? It's not so helpful here in Pantheon where you need to log in and whatnot. So we have you covered. What you see here is we have agents that you can build. We have tools. You have test cases, conversation history, so you can see old things, and integrations. I really like integrations. I'm a big fan of it. You can integrate any of your agents that you have with a few clicks in one of these pre-made environments, like Dialogflow, Messenger, Google Chat, Slack, whatever is your preferred tool. But you can also integrate it anywhere else. You can deploy it as a cloud function and just call it up. OK, great. So that's one agent. But now let's do a bit something different. So for example, let's take a look at our marketing agent. We did a marketing agent. And so here, I'll ask the marketing agent, what is the value proposition of our running shoe, Zora? And it misspelled Zora. Oops. Let me just fix that. And so this marketing agent, oh, yeah, thank you. I forgot to change the agent. This is the invoice agent. This is the marketing agent. Again, what is the value proposition of our marketing? Once again. What is the value proposition of our running shoe, Zora? Zora, good. Good. OK, and so this marketing agent, you see, it also has a goal, a few instructions, and it has two tools. One is a data analysis tool. So here, the agent went into our marketing documentation, and it found the value proposition of our running shoe. OK, so far, so good. But the more impressive example that I find is the data analysis tool. So let me show you this. What is the revenue for our top 3 states? So what is happening now behind the scenes, I'm asking it a data question, right? Revenue number is a data question. And so the LLM is now generating an SQL script. It's going to BigQuery. It's fetching all this data, and it's bringing it back to the LLM. And then the LLM will summarize it and give it, hopefully, an output to us. And I think what is really impressive about this use case is, I don't know about you, but I'm not very strong in SQL and data analysis. So for me, this would take half an hour or so to do. And here, it took maybe less than a minute. And what you see here, it came back with the top 3 revenue states, and it came back with even a picture. So this is all very easy to build, a few lines of code and a lot of descriptive text. Now, one last thing before we go to the panel. OK, so now I have a lot of different agents, right? So I have even more tools in my organization that I need to manage. But you, as an end user, you would like one place where you can go and chat and interact. So let's do that. We call this steering agent. And I think this is something very unique to our Google product offering, that you can build different agents, and you can connect between these different agents and experts. So the steering agent, it doesn't use any tool. So you see no tools connected. What it does, it calls the different playbooks. So it calls the different agents. So I need to change here the agent, so I didn't forget. So I can say, hey, I have an invoice question. And what you will see now is the steering agent understands what I need. So this element would not be visible in the end user UI, but you see that the steering agent handed over to the invoice agent. And the invoice agent is, hey, how can I help you? And so I can say, do I have any open invoices? And now, hopefully, it returns the same invoice as before, because we didn't pay that one yet. So OK, we see that. OK, this is great. And now let's try something else. Thanks a lot. Now I have a marketing and revenue question. Let me just see if the text worked. That worked. And now hopefully, if everything works well, the steering agent kind of like picks up the conversation. It realizes, oh, this is no longer about invoices. This is about marketing. And so I can ask again, what is the value proposition of our running shoe Zora? We should rename our products. They are always misspelled by, by the Apple voice system. And so you see now it handed over the conversation to the marketing agent, and now the marketing agent is answering. So imagine a future for your employees where you have one place and you have a lot of specialists. You have like a team of agents that can support you and empower your workers. This is what we envision, and we hope we can unlock a lot of value for all of you. Thank you very much, and I'm handing over back to Eva and the panel.
Thank you very much. And the technology is only as good as the impact it can make. So now we want to hear from our customers of how actually that technology use cases, and would like to invite on stage Shawn, GVP of TTech Engage, where he spearheaded the AI integration strategy. His team develops and deploys innovative solutions, including Gen AI and ML models for business analytics, customer success, and knowledge. Welcome on stage. Take a seat. Then we will have Dr. Mourad Takla, who is a technical leader with extensive experience in the areas of telecom, generative AI, and system design at Verizon. He has held various leadership roles, including Distinguished Fellow in Maintenance Engineering, where he spearheaded the development of chatbots using generative AI. Welcome on stage. And last but not least, Raman Perumal, I hope I pronounced it correctly, who is a seasoned technology industry professional with over 20 years of experience working at the World Bank. He currently serves as the lead of the Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Platforms team, where his team is focused on harnessing the potential of AI and ML to enhance the efficiency and productivity of frontline World Bank staff. Welcome on stage. Cool. So let's kick that panel off with a discussion about what are the use cases that you have seen within your companies that are most pronounced in the area of employee assistance.
Sure. So within TTech, for many of you, we're a BPO, so we do customer service, back office work for a number of organizations, 65,000 employees. So we have an internal service desk. When folks have issues, they call the service desk, and they can have troubleshooting issues related to software, login, computers, a lot of knowledge. So deploying a Gen AI-based answer agent for these service desk personnel has been a stronghold for us. For the past 7 months, we've been running this, seen a number of improvements occurring over time. So,
Mourad?
We have many applications in Verizon's, using Gen AI and trying to implement that and deploy it. My specific case, I'm focusing on the network operations and finding root cause analysis and trying to identify what caused the issues that happen in the field based on historical data and as well as vendor data. So.
And Raman, so that we know the breadth of the use cases that we can talk about.
Definitely. In the case of the World Bank, I think it's more on the knowledge worker kind of use case that you and Lovro were talking about. Finding the information at the right time, at the right place, in the right context. I think that's something which these employee assistants are focused on. The second one is almost act like a tier 0 support, right? A lot of times we just want to get an instant answer so that we're not spending time looking for that. I think that's where these employee assistants have been very useful.
So that's the breadth of use cases, and I hope the audience can identify with some of them as well as These are the ones that we've seen a lot of times. So the second question I would have is, how do you measure the success as you implement those employee assistant use cases within? Sure. So maybe let's start with Raman, since you started with the knowledge worker.
Sure. I think it's primarily has to do, because when we talk about knowledge, right, it's the time it takes for you to get to the information so that you can execute the next step. So that time to get to an answer, if you can define it that way, that's one important measure. The second measure is, of course, because a lot of it is not qualitative information or quantitative information which you can exactly measure, it's more qualitative. So more about how to complete an entire process if you had to extrapolate it. What is the time which is taken? So our intent is to bring it down more and more using these agents.
Yeah, so practically a lot of what we have seen as well is around productivity, right? Yep. But Shawn, I remember when we worked together, we discussed a lot about the quality aspect as well, right?
So initially when we started, we were about a 75% quality perspective from an answer correction. Over time, we've now increased that to over 90%. What we've seen now from implementing this on our service desk is a reduction in handle time, 17% reduction in time, which is very, very large to handle. Additionally, what we saw were more of the social benefits. New agents, new customer service folks on the desk feel a lot of pressure. They don't know everything. So it's creating a more beneficial environment for them to work in, cutting down on attrition and making it a better overall working environment for the employees. Reinforced learning, there's a lot of positives to this.
Yeah, so this is not only about productivity and efficiency, this is about customer service and satisfaction as well and quality. And Mourad, you have one of the very specific and very difficult use cases, I have to say, but at the same time we've made it through. And yeah, how did you measure actually the success, if you can share with the audience as well?
So as Verizon, we're also measured by the outage. Imagine that you have problems with your phone, you cannot make a phone, or you cannot surf the web or watch your favorite YouTube. So the goal is for the engineers to go and find out quickly what could have been the root cause of the problem they face. So they ask the questions and try to get information based on historical records and based on what the vendors have described as might be issues with their own software or hardware. So the idea is to reduce that outage time to enable the agents to solve the problem as fast as possible so our end users are not impacted as much. Yeah. Whether that's a software issue or a hardware issue, find out exactly what could have been the issue so they focus their search on one or two items instead of exploring everything.
Yeah, so this is a very, very specific. It gets very much into depth, and I think we iterated quite a bit on how to make that knowledge, that very, very specific knowledge available to the agents. And I think the criticality of responding to the outages very fast, I think we all realize sometimes time is of value, so the faster you can react, the better, right? Yeah. But with all that, I think we've went through journey as well over months. What are some of the challenges that you have seen from governance perspective, compliance perspective, security perspective? I always say putting the technology into place is like 20%, but then the enterprise readiness, the regulatory aspects, the privacy, security, that takes the 80% almost. Can you share maybe Mourad?
Sure.
Let's follow up on you.
Yeah, as you said, right? We as Verizon as a company being regulated and so on, we have to make sure that our customer data is well protected. None of us wants our private data to be leaked, to anybody or being penetrated. So the amount of security required for us to deploy anything is really high. So making sure that Gen AI have access to the right data with right privileges. Where is the data located? Whether the data located in the VPC, outside the VPC, who has access to it? How does this access take place, and so on? As you said, that's taking most of the effort, more than just running the Gen AI. So that's very important. A lot of people gets involved. not just the technical people, but also security, governance, lawyers, and so on, before we're able to move any data anywhere and then be able to apply the search, where this search results are going to be, who's going to see the search, whether the search is going to be stored within Google or not. All these questions needs to be answered before we move forward and make that public.
Yeah. So I think I started this session by saying this is like climbing the mountain. The 80% is fast, but the 20% actually takes the 80% of the time, right?
Exactly.
And that's the very good example of that. And Raman, on your side, I think we went through a lot as well. And Raman was as well in our next when we started, actually. So I think we went through other months of iterations.
Yep, and as Mourad said, the layered security and the privacy considerations apart, the World Bank is kind of unique because we are an international organization. We have certain immunities and privileges which need to be preserved. So there's this additional layering which needed to happen, and that's kind of been extremely important for us.
Yeah. And last but not least, just for, we are always welcoming any feedback. So, and looking forward to really transforming that technology for our clients and with our clients. So anything you can share, what are the features you would like Google to still have? And Shawn, maybe we'll start with you.
Embedding and chunking. Not all data is the same. That's, the biggest key factor of feeding the LLMs is the correct data. So what we find is, the ability to find the right embedding and chunking technology for the specific data use case is important.
Yeah, and so I think the devil is in the details, right?
Yes.
And the tables and the chunking and the parsing. I think we released a couple of improvements there, and I think we are getting there. Mourad, on your side?
I think for me, I wish I had that a few months ago, the stuff that Lovro announced today. I should have that, I wish I had it a few months ago because, again, as Shawn said, the whole issue of what is the right data to feed the LLM, this is really the critical part to eliminate hallucination and so on, because you don't want to give the agents who are trying to debug wrong information, right? That would waste their time. So really having the ability to be able to have more control of what I feed the LLM becomes more valuable. And I think being able to use the new stuff that was announced this conference would be very helpful for us and enable us to have better control of what we feed the LLM.
Yeah, and I think we've listened to you, right? And I encourage every single customer as well. We only build the technology as long as it is useful to solve problems, so that's why. And Raman, on your side.
So yeah, the other side to look at it is, if you look at it from the user standpoint, employees per se, they are used to these commercial products. They're using these products on a day-to-day basis. So the time to market, when they look at internal tools, in their mind is very less. They can use something on the public market. Why can't they use it on the internal space? So I think as Lovro showed, these tools are hopefully going to reduce our time to market and the continued support on making sure that we are able to do it at an accelerated pace. I think that becomes extremely important.
Yeah. So look forward to just the beginning. This is just the beginning of the journey. So look forward to further collaboration with that fantastic set of customers, but as well with any of you. So thank you very much, and we'll close that session with a few closing remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shortly before the lunchtime, I think one important note we've heard from our panelists, enterprise readiness, that's the last 20%, but takes 80% of the time. So we put that at the core of everything we do. And some of the concerning aspects that we have heard from some of the customers is 50% still over 50% feel still overwhelmed with the technology. And even scarier is that 70% of the employees tend to bypass or are at the risk of bypassing the security guidelines. So we want to make sure that we give you the right tools to avoid this type of situations, and we've invested quite a bit in those areas over the past months. So a couple of examples. Data governance is one of them. Your data is your data, whether this is training data, whether this is prompt data, whether this is the model output. We ensure that your data is your data and we protect the IP. We invested quite a bit in security and compliance. From the Mourad shared quite a bit on the VPCs, access controls, encryption keys. I think these are super important, kind of basics, must have, but super important to make sure that not only you, but as well the cross-functional stakeholders you have to convince about implementing that technology really get convinced. And last but not least, I will give a few examples of our enterprise readiness and responsible AI and explainable AI tooling. We within Google, we use those tools, but we also want to give those tools to you. So safety filters and content moderation APIs, they provide you the opportunity to really have the confidence scores and adjust the confidence scores to what extent you want the model to output anything, any result. And it classifies across different categories like war, crime, violence, sexual harassment. Do you really want the model to output this type of results? Recitation checks. Those give you confidence scores to what extent the model has copy-pasted some of the outputs to make sure that the IP is protected. And last but not least, I'm sure you've seen already or even experimented with our bias evaluation tooling that tries to mitigate the risks of biases across genders, races, religions, and so on and so forth. So these are just some of the toolings. I would encourage you. There was a session as well yesterday on responsible AI, and there is a session on enterprise readiness to deep dive really into those areas, because this is what makes and breaks whether you can put it into production. And on the final note, I want to finish with that statement. The AI will only be successful if it's responsible. So thank you very much, and look forward to working with all of you on making that happen.